What can be done better? Well, one of them will be that we want to move in that direction of things like I was just talking about. But I think more tangibly, we need to, as a community, as a community within the greater white positive sphere, which includes a lot of all the people who are implicitly white. We toss them all in, and they are in different, I guess, different parts of that galaxy, of that sphere, because of their being only implicitly white. And things like nationalists or patriots or what have you, conservatives, people who love the things that we produce and who down deep, they really know that if we don't exist, those things don't exist. Or it doesn't matter if those things even continue to exist if we don't continue to exist. I mean, would it be okay if, say, the dams of beavers continue to exist, but there were no beavers anymore? I don't think there's a sane person who would say that. Yes, as long as beaver dams are still around, then this cute little animal that we ooh and awe at when we see them. Sometimes they're killed and eaten for sport. Sometimes they're killed and eaten, and their pelt hides used and everything for our survival. And we thank them, and we thank the Creator, we thank the universe that they were there to be able to provide that for us and our survival. No one in their right mind would say it's okay if beavers are gone as long as we still have beaver dams. And of course, we can do that with anything in the world. We can do that more probably, I guess, poignantly with any other group of non-white people. Would it be okay, for the white person who says that they're conservative and who believes, well, it's okay if America becomes something other than composed of Western kind, as long as the Constitution remains in effect? Would they be willing to say the same thing, say, about some Jewish customs? Well, it wouldn't matter if Jewish people decided to leave planet Earth for someplace more remarkable and marvelous than the Earth, but we still had the dreidel and we still had the yarmulke. Would that be okay if there were Jewish people had went to another planet that was much more wonderful than Earth, and we were left with the dreidel and the yarmulke and things? Would that be good enough? Would it be good enough if Black people decided to go to a better place than Earth, and they hopped in their spaceships and they left, but we still had whatever they left behind and contributed? Would that be okay? Of course, these people would say no, that wouldn't be okay. So you can show them their hypocrisy. So they fit into the white positive sphere. So what can we do better in 2020? I think this 2020, we as a community in service to white well-being, is we have to really be reaching out as quickly as we can to those in the white positive sphere. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that you're going to ignore friends and family that you want to reach, that you need to reach, because you want that harmony in your house. You don't want to have a house that is discordant and always at odds, and there's always this static in the air. You don't want that sort of environment. So you do want to work with those people where you can. If you can't work with them, then you have to help them to go free. Then you have to try to live in that environment, a live and let live scenario as best as possible. But I think we have to make a far bigger effort to reach those in the white positive sphere, particularly those, to reach them with going free. We need to reach them with these dialectics, with this lexicon, with the actual practice of going free, with born guilty, because these are things that have shown repeatedly, there's no disputing it now, that they better people's lives, that they are making people stronger, healthier, happier, smarter, more in touch with their spirits, improving their lives. And therefore, it's not just another complaint about society. It's not just another flaccid interpretation or diagnosis and prognostication and recommendation, prescription. It is something much more fundamental, something that is transformative. It is the change agent that is entered in the equation. We have these folks in the white positive sphere that are, they think a lot of things that I can get impatient about, because I've been in the movement or in the cause, in the sphere for so long. And I've argued against these different positions, things like being a craven and wanting to hide out forevermore, as though some army of the dead will rise and save us, and then we'll be okay. It's not going to happen. These other ideas of this endless recitation of crime statistics, or this absolute sickening, just maudlin indulgence of politics, is so stupefying and asinine. It's hard to speak to. It's hard. So I get frustrated at times with such people, especially since I've had so many arguments. And I was saying the past couple of days and the past couple of streams that 15 years ago, I was talking about the need to build community. And so many argued against that, about the need for more politicking. Talk about more politics. We need to get to these people. Particularly, and I had somebody write the other day, and I really thank you, K-Max, for this question. I see Amber Lynn is here. Great to see you. Casa JB, great to see. Machiavelli sucks. Great to see you. Punk is here. Great to see you. Anne, wonderful. Hello. Great to see you over there on gardening. We have these communities, and I was just saying, I had somebody write yesterday, perhaps, or the day before, where they were talking about these people who are so convinced that there's going to be this civil war, and that our victory, and by our victory, white positive people, people who care about white well-being, people who care about those things would be happy with the outcome, that our victory is somehow inevitable. These are delusions and fantasies that need to be addressed. And we don't need to, I guess, mock. If you're in a conversation with someone about this, there's no reason to, I guess, initially to ridicule them for the sentiment. But you should say, look, in addition to this idea that you have, that there's somehow going to be a magical civil war is going to come out of nowhere, and without a center of gravity, there'll be some magical way that a superpower, and all of the superpowers, in fact, will be able to be defeated in some sort of civil war. And in addition to indulging that fantasy and sitting on your ass while you wait for somebody else to rescue us, you should also go free. Take a look at this. Take a look at this book. Take a look at these streams. Take a look at this community where people's lives are actually getting better. Is your life getting better as you pile MREs, which are these military meals, as you pile ammunition, as you dig bunkers? Is your life getting better doing that? Is your life getting better? You can do this to all of these communities. Are you getting healthier, smarter, faster, stronger, more in touch with your spirit, and plugged into an actual vibrant community that has people who are doing these things, truly remarkable things? If you hear it all, you'll see the testimonies. Are you doing that? Or are you just voting? Are you just complaining about this thing that this politician did, or that thing, or quibbling over, can this branch of government do that to this branch of government, and what's the recourse with this branch of government versus that? When we see our people doing this, it's like children in a sandbox. You don't have to go up and initially and insult them, but say how asinine the particular indulgence is, but say to them, look, if you want to quibble over the politics, fine. If you want to call yourself some stupid little name, fine. If you want to send cartoon characters, all fine. But let's also do something of value. Let's also go free. Let's also be a part of this community that is really making some pretty miracle level things happen in people's lives. Ladies and gentlemen, when people are getting together, not by accident, by showing up at a white positive conference, and two people meet randomly and then they have a family. That's accident. When people get together because they're both going free and decide because they're both going free to have a child and to have more children. Those are two couples that this has happened with. That is miracle level stuff taking place. They're getting together because of the doctrine, not by accident of what is being shared. Those are fundamentally different things. So we have people who have been on the path now, 3 on the path to suicide, the ultimate white flight. They've gotten off that path. We had one gentleman who shared about a month ago now that going free has given him a reason to live. So that's very nearly being on the path to suicide. So many wonderful things. We just could go over getting off the drugs, getting off. You don't see that happening anywhere else. So suggest to these people, this is what we need to be doing better as a community. Now, there are going to be great people like Jared George. There are going to be great people like Mark Collette. There are going to be all these wonderful Dr. Patrick Slattery. There are going to be all these wonderful people who are getting the message out to a great many people. But as much as possible, the regime, the anti-white regime, which is a monolith of a regime all around the Western world, which is not to imply that there is some sort of cabal and secret. There's nothing secret. It's out in the open. They make it, it's as clear as day. It couldn't be any more lucid than it is. This regime is stifling these people as much as possible, stuffing dirty rags in their mouths, cutting the tongues out of their mouths. They're doing their best to prevent them from reaching the masses of our people. As a consequence, you and me, we have to get together and we have to go out into the world and we have to make sure that our brothers and sisters know what is happening. And the most fertile of all soils is going to be those who in the white positive sphere, who are in spheres near us. So people who like to talk about Republican or whatever it is for your political party is the nationalist party in your country, people who like to talk about that stuff all day long, that is some good soil. That's a sphere that's near us. People who think about civil war all day long and fantasize all day long about that, that's going to be some fertile soil. So all of these different groups who are indulging these things that are otherwise, in some cases, quite destructive, especially now as that clock ticks closer and closer to midnight for Western kind. We need to be getting to them. That's what we have to do much better this year. We need to be bringing in, and we should be seeing messages from people who say that every day we should be seeing messages from people who say, oh, I used to believe XYZ over here. But even if they're still indulging it as adult play, if you will, now they've come over to something that's also real. So let them buy their MREs. Let them think they're going to be able to, in this context, the context that we have today, let them think that they're going to be able to secede and give the bird to the federal government of the United States. And the United States will just say, well, our hands are tied. I guess we'll let you go. I guess you can have your country. Or that, well, you have, what do you have? 30 teams of 20 guys that have AR-15s or something. And, well, I guess we can't take that back. That would just be too much to overcome. You could do that as well if you want to indulge that fantasy. But here, let's also go free. So that's something that we all need to be doing. We should all set a goal for ourselves. Are we going to talk like at least once a week on the threads of these other channels, on the threads of these other podcasts, on the comment sections under the articles on this website or that website? Is it going to be once a week? Is it going to be twice a week? I mean, how much is going to be too much for you? How much is going to be too much of a struggle for you, ladies and gentlemen? Not just K-Max, of course, to get folks to come over to Going Free and do something that's really fundamentally different. Because the more people that we bring in, the more that will come. And that will just rapidly change things for us, and the potential for us to actually shift the context ourselves, to have an effect on the context ourselves, which, as I say, is really the magic place to be, because then other opportunities will make themselves available.